With camps underway, Philadelphia Eagles are now all together. They are working out. They are getting ready for this upcoming season. But one future Hall of Famer may be working on life after football. Also, there's been some rumors that a former first-round pick for the Philadelphia Eagles may be on the verge of getting cut. And lastly, I want to talk about what I've been told about this training camp so far. I've heard some really good things, so we're going to get into all that. Let's talk about it.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today I want to talk about a Hall of Famer for the Eagles working on life after football. Also want to talk about a top 15 pick who is on the verge of possibly getting cut from the team. And obviously I want to talk about how camp is going so far. Before we get into all that, be sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe, join the family. We are on the road to 10K. We would love for you guys to join that ride. Also, I think I'm going to start selling these hats. I did them just for fun, but I see a lot of people in the comments always saying, you know, I love that hat. I want one of those hats. If you want one of those hats, just leave it in the comments. And if I get enough people, I think I'm going to sell them. But also, we're going to have Fran Duffy on the show this week. So if you guys have any questions for Fran, feel free to leave them down in the comments as well. I will be going through all the comments and seeing if maybe I can run the show through you guys. Maybe I'll let you guys ask all the questions to Fran. But let's hop right into it, man. I want to start with Jason Kelce. So Jason Kelce, we all assume that this is most likely his last year with the Philadelphia Eagles, last year in the NFL. He has had an incredible career. I can't speak. He's had an incredible year every year. He's had an incredible career for the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, one of the most underrated players coming into the NFL and became one of the best centers of all time, in my opinion. I think he's top 3 at his position, realistically. And I'm not saying that just because I'm an Eagles fan. I think you can realistically make that argument. Look, it's going to be tough to lose a guy like him. Obviously, the Eagles have put themselves in position that they have some people that can go ahead and take his spot. But it's going to suck either way. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about him working on his media stuff. So he has been working it looks like he's going to work broadcast. It might be something that kind of just helps his New Heights, career, his New Heights podcast, just gets him a little bit more professional for that. But it also could mean maybe we'll start seeing him on Sundays. Maybe we'll start seeing him on ESPN. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. One thing. And look, I hate Tony Romo. I really do. And I hate Tom Brady, but I wouldn't mind seeing him in the booth either. I love when people that know the game and can explain the game are announcers. I think that it just works out so well. You have way less dead space. You have way less, I was out at the park the other day when I don't really care. No offense to anybody. I don't care about that. I like hearing Tony Romo tell me what the next play is going to be and why. I like Tony Romo telling me why that play just happened. I like stuff like that. And I think that you would get something like that from a Jason Kelce because he knows the game so well. At the center position, you kind of have to know what everything is going on around you. You have to know what everybody's job is. So I think it would be incredible to see him and hear him on the radio or on ESPN, whatever it may be, breaking stuff down. I think he would be very, very, very good at it. So if that is where he's headed to, I personally think that it's more so for the New Heights. I think that it's more so for New Heights and for him to go on other shows every now and then and just to kind of be promoting and just to have that professional, mannerisms. That's really what it comes down to, is knowing how to read a script, knowing how to read off teleprompter, stuff like that. A lot of stuff that, people, and I do it too, I'm not going to lie to you, but, a lot of stuff that happens on the back end, people don't really realize a lot of times, especially on YouTube. Some of us, we can just come on here and just kind of talk like what I'm doing right now. Just come on, press record, talk, and do your thing. Very minimal editing, just kind of going at it. But there are videos even that I've done on this channel, and obviously working for Vic and everything, where I've had to read scripts, and it's a lot different. Reading off a teleprompter is a lot different than just speaking. I like to evoke motions in my words. I like to, I like to build off of what I'm reading, not just read it, right? And with teleprompters, it's tough. So shout out to him. I know I just went on a huge tangent, but I'm excited to see what he'll do. Now, obviously, I said it earlier in this video, there is a very big chance that a former first-round pick, top 15 pick for the Philadelphia Eagles may be getting cut this year, and that is Derek Barnett. Now, if I just say the name, right, if I just said Derek Barnett, you guys would be like, oh, who cares? Okay, nobody cares. But when you say top 15 pick, former first-round pick, it sounds a little bit edgier, right? Look, we've talked about this a lot. We've talked about, Derek Barnett and what he brings to this team and quite frankly, what he doesn't bring to this team, right? And I've said it time and time again. I think that he's a good player. I think that he's very solid depth. Has he lived up to being the next Reggie White? Obviously not. Has he even really lived up to being a top 15 pick? Maybe not, probably not, depending on how you look at it. Obviously, we lost his whole year last year to an injury, so maybe that was the year that it would kind of click for him. Defensive linemen, it's tough for me to just give up on them very quickly because I do feel like you get better with time. I on the opposite end of that, I do feel like Derek Barnett has gotten, I don't want to say worse, but he's made dumber mistakes as his career has gone on. I feel like the more years he's had, the more personal fouls we've seen from him. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, look, the guy in the snaps that he's gotten has done all right. I mean, he has been productive. He hasn't been absolutely horrible, shouldn't be playing in the league. So I say that to say this. If the Eagles want to move on from him, obviously we're looking at a post-June cut or a post-June trade, because right now, if we were to do it as like a pre-whatever, it would basically be you would have like $10 million of dead cap hit, $7 million against your cap, so you would lose $7 million. So it's really not, it doesn't make any sense. If you wait till post-June, you're having $7 million of dead cap and just over $1 million of saved money. So you don't save a lot, but you don't lose much, right? So if you're going to look to get rid of him, I'm looking for a trade, to be honest with you. I think you can still get maybe a fourth, maybe a fifth, maybe a desperate team really thinks he's going to be great and you can get a third. But I think a fourth, fifth, maybe some combination of later round picks, maybe you get a fifth and a conditional sixth or something like that. I think that you can get some type of value out of Derek Barnett, because I don't think Derek Barnett is totally valueless. I don't think that he's absolute garbage. And I know a lot of people argued with me with Andre Dillard. We saw what Andre Dillard went out there and got paid. So I was kind of right about that, right? I was kind of right about that. People took a swing on him. And even looking back, I mean, obviously you want that offensive line. You want that depth. And he did play some big key moments for us when guys went down. But at the end of the day, Andre Dillard could have got traded probably for a fourth, maybe a third, maybe even higher, depending on how high people were on him. But I don't want to lose that option with a Derek Barnett. I think that if you put Barnett out on the open market and you say, give me a fifth, give me a sixth, I think people will do it. I really do think so. And you're not just giving him up, and you're not getting a compensatory pick for him. So, you could just throw that out the window right now. So if I'm the Eagles, I'm looking for a trade. And if you want to cut, I don't think cutting makes sense. I really don't. He doesn't make enough money, in my opinion, on the cap to really justify cutting him. I think even if he brings 2 or 3 sacks this year as a rotational piece, I think that's worth the money he's getting right now. He's not getting an exorbitant amount of money. So I'm not looking for him to get cut. It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility, and it has definitely been talked about. But I don't think that that's the route we'll go. I think if he's going to get off this roster, it's going to be via trade. What we would get, that would be up in the air. Maybe we could get lucky and get a guy that just doesn't want to be on the other team. You get somebody like a Buda Baker, and we throw in another pick. We throw in, Derek Barnett, and boom, everybody's happy. You got a guy that doesn't want to be on our team most likely, and we got a guy that doesn't want to be on your team most likely. I'm gonna keep fighting for Buda. I'm gonna keep fighting for him. I don't care about it. I don't care. Now, lastly, I do want to talk about, I've been talking to some people that are out at the practices, are out at the training camps and everything. Obviously, you guys know I talk to a lot of the Eagles reporters and stuff. So a couple people that I've been talking to have been very, very jovial, very happy about what this team looks like. I've heard some great things about Jalen Hurts. And some of the clips that we've seen, you guys have seen them as well, probably on Twitter and everything. It looks like his footwork has gotten even better. It looks like his mechanics have gotten even better. It looks like his timing is there. It really, and obviously, like I said, these are clips, and I'm kind of merging them with what people are telling me as well. But it looks like he's improved over this past offseason, which I don't think is really a surprise to anybody, right? He goes out there and gets his master's degree and comes back and masters the game of NFL. So I love seeing what I'm seeing. It looks like these young boys are really taking off quick. I've heard some really, really good things about Nolan Smith. And reason why I got told about Nolan Smith so much, because they've talked to me a lot about Nolan Smith, is because I was down on Nolan Smith. I didn't think he was a guy that should have went top 10. He obviously didn't. I like the 30 spot, but they like to throw it in my face that, we got him. But Nolan Smith has looked amazing. I mean, the strength has probably impressed a lot of people. They knew he was a strong fella. They knew that he was obviously a quick guy, but the strength that he's been showing in camp so far has been very impressive. And a lot of times I've been told you see him with Jalen Carter. You see Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith walking around together, doing drills together. You see that camaraderie. And a lot of times you don't see Jalen Carter really falling behind a Nolan Smith as far as speed goes and acceleration goes. They're usually breaking through the line around the same time. So look, it looks like this defense is going to be very good. I have a very, very high hopes now about this defense. And I've said it before, the secondary, mainly the safety unit, kind of worries me. We'll see what happens. But I think that we have enough good players that we will be at the very worst good enough in that secondary. Then you look at the top seven. I mean, look, the front seven is beastly, right? You look at this defensive line, you got like 5 or 6 guys that can rotate in and out and be fresh and give you high level snaps. You look at the linebacking core, while it's not necessarily a proven commodity, right? We don't know what Nicholas Morrow is going to be in this system. We don't know what Nakobe Dean's going to be in the NFL, to be 100% blunt. Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley might get an increased role. We don't know what this linebacking core is going to be looking like. But again, I kind of feel like you have enough good players that it's going to be good enough. And you have guys that can do certain things. So you're not going to necessarily ask everybody, hey, go out there and pass coverage every other play. That's not necessarily what they're going to ask. So I think you have so many weapons, so many tools that you're going to be able to hammer in whatever you want. You're going to be able to frame up whatever picture you want, and you're going to be able to look really good on this defense. So I'm very excited to hear what I've heard. One thing I will throw out there is that I don't know, from what I've been hearing, I don't know if there's a real competition between I was about to say the Falcons guy, between Aaron Sippis and Ty Zander, I think his name is, or something like that. The punter, Legatron. That's all I remember when I think of him. I think Legatron's going to get that job. I mean, just the fact that they're so openly saying that they are testing both out, I think it might be over for Sippis. I love Sippis, but the real reason why I say that is just because I think that they want him to kick for Jake Elliott during the preseason. Might be the dumbest thing to ever say, might be way out there, but I do think that they really do like that he can be a kicker in tough spots. We've seen it. We've seen the Eagles lose Jake Elliott at the worst time possible. You've had Kurt Coleman out there kicking, you've had random people out there kicking, or you're just going for 2-point conversions. If you have Legatron, he is a place kicker. He is also obviously a punter. He can kind of fill in for you in a pinch, right? So I think that that's going to be valuable for this team. That was just very random, but I just wanted to throw it in there. But you guys let me know what you're thinking. Leave that like, leave a subscription, comment down below. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is fly, Eagles fly.
Eagles flag everywhere. This is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly, Eagles fly. You on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season head, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.